Hello, my name is Joseph Isaacson, and this is my presentation over the hearing and deaf communities about that video and the article. Now, question number one was, what was the primary conflict and what meanings are misunderstood by the two cultures? So the primary conflict was whether or not the deaf children should be implanted with so they can be able to hear. And the main problem with the deaf community was that they don't want their children to leave their community because once they're implanted with it, it's like a higher probability of them not really using the sign language anymore, and the deaf community has a big problem with that. And with the hearing community, their problem was they think they think that deafness is a handicap, and that you should give your children the best opportunity that you can. How is ethnocentric playing a part in this conflict? Well, the deaf community has something against the hearing community because they believe that since they're their own community and they grew up with their own deafness, I feel like the deafness community feels like that the hearing people don't understand their point of view at all. They don't understand why they want their children to be part of the deaf community and not have the implants at all. How can anxiety and uncertainty management theory be applied to the two cultures in their conflicts? Well, I couldn't really apply it to the hearing culture, but to the deaf culture, the lower anxiety, the higher chance of intercultural communication. That's what the theory says. And I feel like with the deaf community, if they were less combative with the hearing community, we could get on common ground. So how could better intercultural communication occur between these two groups? Well, the first way is no arguments and settle conversations. When I was watching that video, that movie, that documentary, it felt like the deaf community always had a chip on their shoulder, and they're always combating their point of view to the hearing community. What does getting an implant mean for a person, and what does not getting it mean? An implant in this setting, in my opinion, is basically a different culture. And if you don't get an implant, you stay into the deaf culture. So what an implant means is that a deaf person can now hear again subtly, especially if you're young. If you get the implant while you're young, you can learn how to speak a lot easier. But I think that means that two different cultures when you get the implant or not. Should deaf infants routinely be fitted with cochlear implants? And I believe that is no. I don't think deaf infants should be routinely be fitted with cochlear implants. I think if the child wants the implant, then yeah, the parents should go ahead and get that child their best opportunities that they can. But if they don't want it, then that's on the child. I think that the implant is definitely on the child. Well, thank you.